Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again. I'm just going to talk boxing now. Just a quick update. I've done previous videos regarding the whole state of the sport and current fights being postponed or cancelled following this ever going case of the coronavirus, and just a quick update on certain fights which we kind of knew weren't really going to take place in May. It's just the way this virus is spreading, things are getting worse now and cases are going up, and really it was really unrealistic that any fight scheduled for May, I think June as well, to take place. It just, to me, just not going to happen. So we know beforehand that Dylan White and Alexander Povetkin, that was due to take place on May the 2nd. That's been cancelled now. I think they're looking to maybe reschedule that for maybe July the 4th. I'm not sure if that will be feasible. Again, we don't know what will happen, but that's been rescheduled for that day. Katie Taylor was due to fight Amanda Serrano, I believe, on that undercard. That's also been pushed back. Lee Selby was meant to fight George Kambosos Jr. That's been cancelled. And of course, Alexander Usyk against Derek Chisora, which is meant to take place on May the 23rd. That's also been postponed. And I don't think they've put forward a date or rescheduled a date for that fight as of yet on there. So that's the main overall updates on there. They still haven't made any more announcements on Joshua as far as I'm concerned. I do believe that they're going to maybe push that back to maybe July, late July, which makes sense as well. I just think June the 20th, what we are now, beginning of April. So June the 20th might be just too close, because again, that fight, you're asking for 70,000 people to go to the Tottenham Hotspur football stadium. That's just such a large scale of people congregating together so shortly after this virus. I just think June is just too unrealistic. So yeah, no surprises that got pushed back to July as well. So again, just no surprises here. I think you're going to see anything maybe up to June, possibly July, get postponed, in my opinion. I think that AJ fight's going to get postponed as well. I don't believe anything about any potential Billy Joe Saunders fight against Canelo in May. I don't think that's going to happen either. We know recently as well, just to add, that the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury third match, they were looking to do that, I believe, in July, but I believe now that's been pushed back to October. So again, that makes sense as well. October is much more of a realistic date. Maybe we can get to some semblance of normalcy when we could see fights get put back on. So October is actually more feasible working announcement, in my opinion. I think a lot of these fights are going to get pushed back even more so, as because this virus that continues to escalate on here as well. So it's just a strange time for boxing. It's not really. I'm doing these updates, but you can't really speculate too much, because about any fights going on in place, because not really a lot of it is happening, right? I know there's been speculation and talk about what Manny Pacquiao fighting Mikey Garcia. So it's just a strange time, and not really a lot more we can report on. I just think we're better off just waiting to maybe the latter part of the year. One thing which might come good out of it, and I saw a recent Eddie Hearn interview with Coogan on there, was that this may force, once we get back to some sort of normalcy, this may force people to make the fights a lot quicker, right? A lot sooner, because nobody saw this coronavirus coming and the impact it was going to have, right? And this is truly now really serious, globally affecting, the whole world is going to change once we eventually recover from this. Sport, entertainment, just current affairs in life, everything is going to change. It's going to change our whole attitude and the way we approach things, right? We've seen as well, I've done videos, the Olympics getting cancelled, Euro 2020 getting cancelled. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Wimbledon get pushed back. I've focused more on tennis events getting pushed back to September. So the whole sporting dynamic is going to change. And I think in terms of boxing, it's going to force these promoters to stop kind of messing around and quibbling over what split they're going to get and what percentage they're going to get, and just think, look, the whole world could change again. Something else could come out of the woodwork. Another outbreak could come out after this, and it could be even more serious. So we need to get these fights on now, make the big fights now. While the demand in there, while the iron's hot. So eventually we'd want to see AJ and Fury, if Fury's still champion. AJ and Wilder, again, it depends on what happens with the third fight, but that fight's lost a lot of its luster to me now that both fights have been beaten, and again, the current scenario, it won't be for undisputed. So that was really the true super fight that we should have got in boxing. And again, yeah, I am going to be much more harsh on the sport and promoters, because again, you've had super fights like that, you've had super fights like Spence and Crawford. No reason at all why you couldn't have got those fights, and everybody just been dillying dallying around looking for their own best interest and trying to get their own best splits on there. And as a result, now we've missed out for a long time because of this virus. Now super fights that we should have had a year ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we ain't going to get now for even longer time, because you spend too much time messing about. So when we come out of this situation that we're in, focus more on making these big fights straight away. No warm-up fights, no voluntaries to ease yourself back into it. Make these big fights now, and when we do come out of it, there's going to be massive demand. You think once we can get back to some sort of normal way and we could get back to enjoying sport, right? The next big fight, you imagine, you make the next big pay-per-view fight, right? It's going to be huge, because the demand for that fight, and everybody's just going to want to latch on to boxing again, get that big fights on again. So you're going to do massive numbers, right? So the next big fight does big numbers, and then what you want to do is feed off that momentum and build on another big fight, another big fight, another big fight. And boxing fans, sport fans, we're just going to be craving. It's a bit like you've been starving of food for so long. So we've been starved of boxing for quite a while now. So we're just going to be craving for big fight, big fight. And I think this is where the fans have to kind of take responsibility and make sure that when boxing does come back, that we make sure we demand that these big fights take place now. We don't want to see everybody just marinate, let it build up. No, now just say, right, we've been put under such a big burden from this virus. It's impacted us financially. If you want us to continue paying streaming apps or pay-per-view prices, fine, but we're only going to demand the big fights. We ain't going to put up with no mismatches anymore, right? So really the power when boxing comes back is going to be with the fans, and make sure that the sport does a good effort to put these fights on together. Why not, as I mentioned in previous videos, have big fights on the same card? I've said before, you could easily have had Dillian White, Povetkin, and Usyk and Chisora on the same card. You could have that easily and have a really big heavyweight pay-per-view event. But of course, they don't want to do that. Everybody's greedy, wants their own money, etc. We know this in boxing anyway, right? So yeah, those are really just my quick thoughts. I can't really expand anything a bit more on that. And again, I know there's other kind of sub stories, rivalries in sport. I think in terms of the YouTube boxing community, all the stories and the videos I'm seeing, there is a struggle. What do you talk about in boxing? If you have a YouTube channel primarily focused on boxing, what do you really talk about? You can talk about previous fights and such, but in terms of new updates, what can you really talk about? I'm not really going to speculate a lot more about fights as such, because they're not really going to happen, are they, at the moment? It's hard to talk about fights when really the sport is really at a standstill. So what's the point in hyping up about this fight, hyping up about GGG and Canelo, the third fight, if it's not at the moment going to happen, right? So yeah, let's just wait and see. Once we cope with this virus and we can get back to some sort of normalcy, and then we can talk about boxing a lot more. Like previous fights, classic fights, yes, we can talk to. I may do, series concentrate on the classic fights in the past, but what more can we say? I'm not going to delve into the whole, other rumours regarding, Tyson Fury and stuff, because there's no substance to that at the moment. It's just hearsay. There's no facts or reasons behind it all, right? So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on the current state of boxing at the moment. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you really worried about the state of boxing once it comes back, or do you think once it does come back, we're going to get this huge, just kind of menu of just big fight after big fight after big fight, can really help kind of reinvigorate the sport and just benefit us as fans, right? Because that's what you want to see. We want to see the big fights, the 50-50s, the undisputeds, the unifications. That's what we want to see in boxing. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll give you more updates as they come along. I said I'm going to group events together and do one summary video. Yep, so that's it for now. Stay safe, continue to wash your hands, keep at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.